Hello, everyone, and welcome to What's the Story, Gemini, the podcast where I ask Google Gemini about a topic and then we learn about it together. Today, I'm asking Google Gemini about the yellow fever. No, this is not like disco fever or Saturday night fever. And I'm sorry, I'm only saying this to bring some levity to the situation because if you have any awareness of yellow fever, it's bad. It's really bad, and this is how I handle bad things. So let's get started. So, what's the big deal with yellow fever? Well, it's a pretty serious disease that's been around for centuries. In fact, it's thought to have originated in Africa, and it's been a major public health concern ever since. How did it impact the world, you might ask? Well, yellow fever played a huge role in shaping history. It was a major obstacle to exploration and trade, particularly in the Americas. Back in the day, people didn't understand how it was transmitted, so they blamed it on everything from bad air to evil spirits. This led to widespread fear and isolation. Remember the Panama Canal? Well, that was a massive undertaking, but it was almost derailed by yellow fever. The French tried to build it in the late 19th century, but their workers were decimated by the disease. It wasn't until the United States took over the project and implemented effective mosquito control measures that they were able to finish the canal. You know what? Frickin' mosquitoes again. This reminds me of when we had West Nile virus. We used to call it West Nilus. I know it's terrible. I'm sorry. I think I was in high school at the time or college, and we don't think about things back then. But mosquitoes, yo. So, how does this disease spread? Yellow fever is transmitted by mosquitoes, specifically the Aedes aegypti and Aedes africanus species. These mosquitoes breed in stagnant water, so places with poor sanitation and lots of rainfall are particularly vulnerable. That makes a lot of sense now. I was really pissed off the other day when I was taking my dogs for a walk and we live near a body of water. It had just rained, and that body of water is not really moving, and the mosquitoes were everywhere. And they were pissing me off, but the more that I go off on this tangent, it may have been gnats. Whatever it was in my way, and I had to walk like a human windmill. Where can you find this nasty disease? Yellow fever is primarily found in tropical and subtropical regions of Africa and South America. Countries like Brazil, Nigeria, and Uganda are particularly at risk. How long does it take to show up? The incubation period for yellow fever is typically 3 to 6 days, but it can be as short as 2 days or as long as 10 days. What are the symptoms? The early symptoms of yellow fever can be similar to other viral illnesses, including fever, headache, muscle aches, nausea, and vomiting. In some cases, the illness may progress to a more severe phase known as the, quote, toxic phase. So what's the toxic phase all about? During the toxic phase, the liver becomes damaged, leading to jaundice, which is why the disease is called, quote, yellow fever. Other symptoms of the toxic phase can include bleeding, shock, and even coma. Is it deadly? Okay, I don't even need to read the next line. Yes, I'm aware that it's deadly. I'm actually sure that I believe I heard the story Washington Square in Philadelphia has bodies from victims of the yellow fever buried underneath it, either the yellow fever or the scarlet fever. Spanish flu. Shit, now I'm getting my information wrong. Ignore everything I just said. Is it deadly? Unfortunately, yes. The mortality rate for yellow fever can be quite high, especially in severe cases. Without proper medical care, the death rate can exceed 50%. Yo! Well, that's freaking terrifying. I mean, yeah, it's not to the level of maybe the bubonic plague. I can say things. But that, two people, one of them's gonna die from it. Essentially. Can you recover from it? If you survive the toxic phase, you'll likely develop immunity to yellow fever. However, the disease can leave you with long-term health problems such as kidney damage or liver disease. Is there anything we can do to prevent it? Absolutely. The most effective way to prevent yellow fever is through vaccination. There's a safe and effective vaccine available that provides long-lasting protection. Who should get vaccinated? If you're traveling to areas where yellow fever is prevalent, it is highly recommended that you get vaccinated. This includes parts of Africa and South America. What about controlling the mosquitoes? That's right, control those little biting bastards. Vector control measures are also important. This includes draining stagnant water, using insecticides, and wearing insect repellent. Does climate change play a role? Yes. Climate change is expected to impact the distribution and transmission of yellow fever. As temperatures rise and rainfall patterns change, the mosquitoes that carry the virus may expand their range. This could lead to increased outbreaks in new areas. So, there you have it. Yellow fever is a serious disease with a long history, but thanks to vaccines and other prevention measures, we can control its spread and protect people from its devastating effects.